So, good morning, friends, and welcome back to the online learning platform at Department of Civil Engineering. So, you're along with me for the course Municipal Wastewater Engineering, which is popularly part of Public Health Engineering. So, if you recollect, in the previous sessions, we had discussed about advanced wastewater treatment technology, okay, and MBBR and SBR. In this presentation, we will be moving ahead. So far, we understood about preliminary treatment, primary treatment, secondary treatment, advanced treatment. But in today's presentation and in the subsequent classes, we shall be discussing about economical or low-cost municipal wastewater treatment technologies. Please remember that when I say low-cost municipal wastewater treatment technology, I am not saying that it's a part of your tertiary treatment. This very well can be part of your secondary treatment as well. Okay, so it all depends on the relative positioning of the unit. Now, in this presentation, I'll be introducing you to the concept, okay, and we will further deal with one particular type wherein we'll understand a very simple aspect of its construction, how it works, okay, what are the advantages and disadvantages before I summarize and list the references for you. Now, what we need to understand is, whenever you speak about the low-cost wastewater treatment technologies, especially when it comes to what I'm referring to today, okay, uh, today we are dealing with oxidation ditch. So the concept is with respect to your suspended growth process itself. You very well remember that when we talk about wastewater treatment technology, okay, we are talking about attached growth process and suspended growth process, okay. And you also remember that when we spoke about suspended growth process, we had understood about activated sludge process, and when we spoke about attached growth process, we had studied about trickling filters. So they were conventional treatment technologies. Now, in the same suspended growth process, there are further type of treatments such as stabilization pond, aerated lagoon, oxidation pond, sludge digestion system, and yes, oxidation ditch. So all these technologies, okay, they come under the category of suspended growth process. That means the microorganisms which are meant for the treatment, the microorganisms which are meant for the treatment of the organic fraction, they remain suspended in the wastewater, they remain suspended in the media. Okay, please remember oxidation ditch, stabilization pond, aerated lagoon, oxidation pond, okay, these are part of low cost wastewater treatment technologies. But sludge digestion system is not part of low cost treatment technology. It is a different treatment technology itself, because that is dealing with sludge. But what we are discussing today is dealing with the wastewater itself. No, in fact, if you can look at the image, if you can look at the image here, what you see here is the wastewater entering. Okay, this is your low cost wastewater treatment technology. Say for instance, oxidation ditch. What you see here is secondary clarifier. So very well, I am replacing aeration tank. If it was ASP, I am replacing trickling filter. Okay, if it was attached growth process, but everything else remains same. See, you have the secondary clarifier, okay, you have return sludge, you have excess sludge, and you have sludge treatment taking place here. Okay, so we are not basically entering into any new domain. All we are trying to tell you is that we are replacing something which was conventional with something which is more economical. Okay, so obviously when I'm replacing something conventional with something economical, there would be some kind of conditions, limitations, and restrictions due to which I introduce this new concept. And obviously it's because we are unable to afford conventional treatment for a well developed city, for a well-developed town. So probably, these low-cost treatment technologies are meant for those communities, okay, those specific communities which cannot afford it, or probably, based on the nature of characteristics that we go for this kind of treatment. In today's class, I'll be explaining to you about oxidation ditch. Okay, so basically when I say oxidation ditch, look at the image on the screen. You can see a concrete structure. Okay, you can see a oval shape. Let's say you're looking from the eagle's view. All right, now some basic knowledge with respect to oxidation ditch for your kind perusal. See, basically this oxidation ditch is actually an extended aeration type of your ASP. I will repeat this. The oxidation ditch is basically an extension. It's an extended ASP process. But while your ASP process was meant for huge cities, this oxidation ditch concept was basically developed for small towns in Netherlands. Okay, it was developed by a person called Dr. Pasveer. He had developed it for small towns in Netherlands. All right, now if you look at the oxidation ditch, if you observe very carefully, okay, it's a oval shaped endless ditch. There is no end for this. Okay, there is no end for this. It's an endless ditch. Okay, further what you need to understand here is this is how an oxidation ditch would look like. See, in the previous image I showed you, when there is when there is wastewater inside the reactor. Okay, if the wastewater is not there in the reactor, this is how it looks like. Okay, so please observe very carefully. So the moment you see mixed liquor, it's referring to MLSS. Okay, when you say air and oxygen, it refers to aeration process. All right, now this oxidation ditch, as I told you, is a modified form. Modified form of what? Of your ASP. Basically, essentially, this oxidation ditch is a mechanical secondary treatment system. Okay, it's a mechanical secondary treatment system. So I am not talking about tertiary treatment. It is still a secondary treatment that I am delving with. Okay, now see, the treatment of the wastewater using an oxidation ditch is relatively similar to your wastewater treatment plant. Okay, when it comes to your trickling filter or ASP, it's very similar because after your oxidation ditch, you will have a secondary clarifier. Okay, and you will also have the process of recirculation of sludge. Hence, it is activated sludge that you are referring to. So now let's have a better impression of this low cost treatment technique. So if you look at this image that I am pondering about, okay, so you can see that the wastewater is constantly moving in this endless ditch. It is constantly moving in this endless ditch. You have the influent here and you have the effluent here. So this is the plan view wherein you can see your oxidation ditch. So if you see very carefully, there is not one, but there are two oxidation ditches. Okay, they are in parallel, and for each oxidation ditch you have a secondary clarifier. Okay, now the advantage of having an oxidation ditch is it is highly tolerant when it comes to any variation in your hydraulic loading rate or your organic loading rate. It can easily encompass it, it can easily handle it. Okay, now please remember, but when it comes to your pre-treatment, okay, unlike your conventional treatment where you talk about screens and grid chambers, equalization basin, a skimming tank, okay, when it comes to your oxidation ditch, the only pre-treatment which is typically used in an oxidation ditch is the bar screen. I will repeat this. Before the wastewater enters the oxidation ditch, the wastewater must pass through bar screen to remove all the large sized floating matter. Okay, so with this basic information, with this basic introduction and understanding, let me show you a small video which can enhance your knowledge. So what you see here is these red markings, they show the direction of flow, and as you can see, it is continuously flowing. See, it is a continuous flow. There is no end for it. So the wastewater is continuously flowing in this ditch without any end. Unlike your other treatment technologies wherein, it enters, it stays for some time and then you remove it. Okay, but here it is continuously flowing within the reactor itself. So my friends, this is how the wastewater moves in a oxidation ditch. So when this movement is taking place, the wastewater is getting mixed. The wastewater is getting mixed, and the wastewater remains, the microorganisms remain suspended, because you will have aeration mechanism happening. Remember that this is not a settling basin. That is why after this, we have a secondary clarifier. Okay, so please note, after your oxidation ditch, we have a secondary clarifier, because here the wastewater is not allowed to settle down. The suspended solids, the settleable solids are not allowed to settle down. This does not behave like a settling basin like your sequential batch reactor. All right, okay, so let's continue with the presentation. So now I'm pretty sure that you're very obvious, okay, of the fact that the shape of this reactor is like a ring or oval. And what you need to understand is, since we are making sure that this doesn't behave like a settling basin, we need to ensure all the suspensions are remain suspended itself. So therefore, we go for aeration. Okay, now basically we tend to go for mechanical aeration. If you remember, I told you oxidation ditch, which is an extended aeration lagoon, which is actually a modified form of ASP, is basically a mechanical system. So we go for mechanical aeration. And yes, the concept of this we have learned before also. But what is the advantage? The advantage is, okay, you are able to keep everything in suspension. Okay, you're also able to provide oxygen. You're able to maintain a very good aerobic state. You're able to encourage aerobic degradation. And yes, since there is recirculation taking place, you have a very good MLSS. Okay, now what I want you to look at very carefully is, what I need you to understand is, see, again, the model may change, the make may change, the design may change. Sometimes, you can have a complete aerobic system, okay, wherein you've got, aerators on both the sides, or probably, depending on the need, depending on the characteristics, sometimes what happens is only one wing or one leg of your oxidation ditch will be aerobic state. The other would be in anaerobic condition. Please note, depending on the requirement, one side may be aerobic, wherein you have aeration being provided, and the other side, it will be anoxic or it will be anaerobic. Okay, so what is the advantage? You're taking the advantage that you're getting it treated, you're getting the wastewater treated not just by aerobic bacteria, but also anaerobic bacteria, and yes, the facultative bacteria. Now I'll show you actual working of an oxidation ditch. So if you observe very carefully here, so friends, what you see here is your mechanical aerators. All right. See, now this is the best depiction of an oxidation ditch which is actually operational. But look at the image on the left hand side. That's a standby. Okay, obviously, whenever you talk about any treatments, whenever you talk about any design, there always will be a unit which is standby. Okay, so in case, if there is one under repair, one under maintenance, the other would work. So primarily what is happening here is, this is operational. This is working while this is not working. Okay, it's a standby unit. So see how the wastewater moves. The wastewater comes like this, and the wastewater is moving like this. Okay, and what is helping this? There are mechanical rotors. Okay, these mechanical rotors are rotating the wastewater as it moves, and as it is happening, it is helping in mixing of air to take place. It is helping in aeration to take place. Let's continue the video. So these are your mechanical rotors. Now what is happening is, based on the design, one leg of your oxidation ditch, it increases the rate of flow, while on the other side it is quiescent. I'll play the video once again. Please observe carefully. Please make a note that there could be different mechanisms in which you can facilitate aeration, but we would rather not go for diffused aerators in this system, because the objective is not just aeration, but to make sure that the wastewater is continuously flowing in a endless loop. So what the rotor is achieving here is, the rotor achieves turbulence. So when the rotor is achieving turbulence, there is mixing of wastewater and air. So basically it achieves diffusion of gases. Oxygen enters, and gases such as carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, or any other gases for that matter, it would escape, and thereby treatment is also achieved. So friends, that was a very simple and effective depiction of how an oxidation ditch would be functioning. Okay, now let us come to some simple design criteria for an oxidation ditch. See, when it comes to an oxidation ditch, the detention period is roughly around 12 to 15 hours. Okay, and the organic loading would be around 800 to 2500 liters per kg of BOD. Okay, now let us say you're talking about the concentration of suspended solids in the mixed liquor. Okay, that would be roughly around 4000 to 5000 milligram per liter, that is ppm. Now typically the volume of this oxidation ditch is around 120 to 150 cubic meter length of the road. Now usually when you talk about the length of the the rotor, that is with respect to the aeration system, it is about 1 meter. Okay, and generally what happens is, the rotor is in the form of a cylindrical cage, and the rotation, you saw the brush rotors rotating, that is roughly at a rate of 75 rotations per minute. So that's a very simple depiction of design criteria for you. Okay, now let's again look at the oxidation ditch from a different perspective. So if you observe very carefully in this image, you have, this is your rotor. Okay, now wherein you saw the other rotor was on a different axis, this is on a different axis. Okay, so you can either have horizontal axis or you can have your vertical axis, but the objective remains that it's a mechanical aerator. Okay, now since you have a horizontal axis rotation or a vertical axis rotation, you are propelling the wastewater to continuously flow. So you can see in this system there is one rotor here and there is one more rotor here. Okay, and yes, this is in a cylindrical cage. Okay, the objective is to protect this system from any further damages. All right, and these yellow arrows depict the continuous flow, the continuous movement of waste water. So I hope this image has given you a better understanding of oxidation ditch. Now finally, let us come to the types of oxidation ditch. Now there are basically two typical types. See, I'm not talking about the modifications, can be depending on the manufacturer. All right, but typically, there are two types of oxidation ditch. One is your intermittent flow type. I'll repeat, intermittent flow type, and the other one would be your continuous flow type. I want you to listen very carefully to me. Okay. In this image, what you're seeing, in the intermittent flow type oxidation ditch, we do not have a separate settling tank. Okay. Please note. Okay. We do not have a separate settling tank. That means there is a small violation from what I spoke to you in the beginning of this presentation, wherein I told you that the oxidation ditch would not behave as a settling basin. Yes, I'm again standing by the same fact. Definitely the oxidation ditch does not behave as a settling basin during the working time. Okay, but when, if you're talking about the intermittent flow type, what is going to happen is at one particular stage, there will be no flow taking place. Okay, you provide it a quiescent atmosphere, you provide it a quiescent system, wherein the entire system is allowed to stay still and all the settlable solids would settle down. So in simple words, how does this work? Okay, in an intermittent flow type, the flow in the ditch will always remain suspended, but only for a predetermined period. That is, when you are allowing the wastewater to flow continuously, only in that duration, the flow remains suspended. But then what happens is, after a specific design time, you will switch off the rotor. When the rotor is switched off, there is no propulsion given for the wastewater to flow. There is no propulsion, or there is no push for the wastewater to move. So under the circumstance, what happens when the wastewater is not getting that extra thrust to move, though it will continue to move, the rate of movement will be very less. Okay, and thereby, okay, settling is facilitated. Okay, and after a particular duration, then the supernatant is removed. All right, and after that, after some particular time, you need to go for removal of sludge. Okay, I'll repeat once again. In an intermittent flow type oxidation ditch, the flow in the ditch will remain suspended only for a given predetermined period. That is when the rotor is functioning. Say this is operational. When it is operational, wastewater will continue to flow. You are achieving mixing, you're achieving aeration. Then after a given duration, you switch it off. When you switch it off, this entire wastewater will start slowing down. It will continue to flow, no doubt, but the rate will be so less. And invariably, what is happening is this ditch portion, okay, it behaves like a settling basin. So after a given detention period, the supernatant is removed from the effluent. Okay, the supernatant is removed from this effluent zone. Please note that this is not a continuous flow system. Okay, if you remember when I taught you sedimentation tank, I told you continuous flow, intermittent flow. Okay, so here the wastewater is allowed to enter. Once the wastewater enters the entire capacity, the influent is stopped, the effluent is stopped. Okay, and then the operation begins. So after the rotor is stopped, after a determined time, the supernatant is removed from here, and after that the surplus sludge is removed. Please remember, we are not removing the entire sludge, we are only removing the surplus sludge. Okay, now if we are talking about the second type, that is your continuous flow type. Now in this case, what happens is, you do not allow any settling to take place in this oxidation ditch. There is no settling allowed in the oxidation ditch. The entire operation is kept continuous by allowing the MLSS to settle in a clarifier. Okay, so that is the basic difference between intermittent oxidation ditch and a continuous flow type oxidation ditch. But please note, my friends, the oxidation ditch is a closed system. Okay, now, so this is how an oxidation ditch would look like, when it is not operational. So you can see it's a concrete structure. Okay, and you have accessories for facilitating to clean up, or in case of any repair or damage. Okay, now what could be the advantages and disadvantages in the oxidation ditch? Now, if I start with the merit, the greatest advantage of an oxidation ditch is the efficiency of sludge removal itself. In an oxidation ditch, about 15%, I will repeat, about 15% of the BOD, that is the original BOD, it will end up as sludge. Okay. Now, but having said this, uh, there is a certain disadvantages as well. For instance, oxidation ditches can be expensive to maintain. Okay, and this monetary cost is very high when I speak about per ton of BOD removed. Apart from the expense and apart from the maintenance attributes, okay, there is one additional environmental drawback. Please remember, oxidation ditches have one additional environmental drawback, and that drawback is, see, basically we know that the wastewater is moving to the ditches using the rotor. And what are these rotors doing? These rotors are using electricity. So obviously when you're talking about electricity, it is coming from certain thermal power plants which actually burn coal, produce carbon dioxide and produce sulfur dioxide. Okay, that is one environmental drawback, because you require energy or electricity to run this. Okay, but having said this, when compared to all the low cost treatment technologies, oxidation ditch is the costliest among all. And please note, it is still economical when compared to your conventional treatment. So friends, we are done with the presentation. So what did we learn today? We have understood about oxidation ditch, how it looks like, how it works, what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages. Okay, from country to country, you would have different variations of the same, and they're all design specific. Okay, now for instance, you can see one variation in this image wherein they have not only used a submersible propeller, that is to allow the wastewater to flow, but they're also using an air diffuser. Okay, but remember, this will come at an additional cost to the system. So friends, these are the references for your kind perusal. In the subsequent class, we'll be continuing with stabilization ponds, which is again one type of low cost wastewater treatment unit. So friends, I thank you for your kind patience. If you got any queries, you may kindly raise it. The forum is now open for discussion.